Jura and Hidari have finally showed up to Konoha looking for Naruto. And the way they just walked in through the entrance, without a care for what is going to happen. They even took out some of the Konoha elite Jonin that tried to intercept the two Shinju, when the Konoha sensory team detected them. The way Jura and Hidari pulled up to Konoha is giving me the same energy as when Itachi and Kisame pulled up to Konoha in OG Naruto. Even the way that Jura spawned into Konoha by just leaning back and teleporting his head through the cube that he was sitting on, like it's a claw mark, with his hands in his pockets. Jura is definitely built different. The two of them appeared from the claw marks on a clawgram that was busy wandering around the forest near the village, and that's where they made their way to the Konoha entrance. We see Jura and Hidari walking around inside the village and stopping at a bookstore, where Jura is fascinated by all the books that are in front of him, and Hidari, being a Sasuke clone, is unbothered and only cares about finding Naruto. Hidari is even asking if Naruto is there, as if Naruto is just chilling in that bookstore, waiting for them to show up. Kawaki was told by Ada that Boruto is currently somewhere south of the village. Kawaki and Delta flew into the air in pursuit of Boruto, but Boruto used flying Raijin to leave the area, so Kawaki wasn't able to catch Boruto. Then Kawaki sensed that Jura and Hidari were in Konoha and immediately went after them. But he was taken out in a few blows and he even got knocked out in one hit, even though he was in his Kurama V1 state. This is the same person that said that the shinobi way is obsolete and that shinobi are destined to die, yet he can't even handle himself against the Shinju, while the shinobi can actually put up a decent fight. Kawaki, on the other hand, was sent flying into a water tanker on top of a building and got put to sleep. Delta had to go and see if he was still alive and kicking. The funniest part is that Kawaki was beaten straight into the same water tanker that Naruto destroyed with his Rasengan in OG Naruto. This is not a good look for Kawaki. Kawaki's stocks have been falling ever since the start of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. It seems like Kawaki is being set up to follow the same path as Naruto at the beginning of Shippuden, when the gap in strength between Naruto and Sasuke was a bit wide. Sasuke had a lot more development in his abilities, the same way as Boruto, and Naruto was falling behind a little bit, just like Kawaki is currently falling behind in Boruto. This is going to awaken Kawaki's thirst for power, and it'll only end up with him pursuing all the ways that he can become stronger and be able to compete with the Shinju, Daemon, and more especially Boruto. This is when Kawaki will begin to turn into the version of himself that we saw in the time skip scene, and do whatever he deems necessary in order to realize his ambitions. Which is why Boruto was asking him if he had to go that far. Kawaki getting humiliated by the Shinju isn't the biggest thing that happened in this chapter. Jura was detecting Tail Beast Chakra. As an incarnation of a Bijuu, he can sense Bijuu Chakra from a Jinchuuriki. He thought that the source of that chakra was Naruto Uzumaki, yet when he went to the location of the source of the chakra, he was surprised to discover that the source was Himawari, which is Naruto's daughter. The source wasn't Naruto. This is an interesting development to the Shinju, and to us as the readers. What Jura said about him being an incarnation of a Bijuu was him saying that the Shinju are the reborn version of the Ten Tails, or at least only Jura's the reborn version of the Ten Tails. Incarnation means that the Bijuu has taken on a new humanoid form, and that form might be the fourth Shinju, or just Jura. There's a high possibility that this is the case considering that Jura is the only one that doesn't have a clawgram victim. Jura is also the only Shinju that has Tomoe on his chest. So Jura might be the main embodiment of the Bijuu, and the other Shinju might just be smaller pieces of it. As for the question of how Himawari might have become a Jinchuuriki, or why the Shinju thought they were sensing Naruto's Bijuu Chakra from Himawari, it all goes back to Naruto's Hokage inauguration. Boruto and Himawari were fighting over Himawari's favorite teddy bear, and that ended up in the teddy bear getting torn and damaged. Himawari's rage forced the awakening of her Byakugan, and she tried to attack Boruto. Naruto, noticing that she had awakened her Byakugan, went to try and break up the fight, but he took on the full force of Himawari's attack that was meant for Boruto, knocking out both Naruto and Kurama. This whole scene was treated as a gag moment in the anime, but in light of the recent developments in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 8, it appears that the whole scene was actually a foreshadowing of the hidden power that was manifesting inside of Himawari. Some fans are going to try and minimize this scene by saying that it's not a showcase of Himawari's hidden power, and the only reason that she was able to knock out Naruto and Kurama was because she landed a direct hit on their chakra points. That isn't the case because there's one fight scene that can easily disprove that. Naruto in base form was able to take several hits from a fused Momoshiki, and even one lethal hit on his chakra point, but it still wasn't enough to knock him out. Not only that, but Momoshiki's hit wasn't even strong enough to reach Kurama. It only affected Naruto. I don't need to spell it out, but it means that Himawari's strike was more lethal than fused Momoshiki's strike on Naruto, and it even caused more damage to Naruto's body, to the point that he was knocked out unconscious and couldn't even attend his own Hokage inauguration. Therefore, it was a showcase of Himawari's hidden strength and not a gag moment. The second time that Himawari's power was hinted upon in the Boruto story was when she met Daemon for the first time, as she was busy running errands for Hinata. Daemon saw Himawari and instantly became intrigued by the level of hidden strength that he was sensing from Himawari. This is a major detail because up until that point, Daemon wasn't fazed by anyone's powers or capabilities until he met Himawari Uzumaki. Naruto's daughter was the only person that actually made Daemon stop in the middle of an attack and say, "Hold on, I'm dealing with some real strength over here, and I shouldn't just attack on a whim." And now the third time that Himawari's power is being hinted in the story is when Jura thought he detected Naruto because he sensed that someone with Bijuu Chakra was nearby, when in fact it was Himawari Uzumaki, Naruto's daughter, instead of Naruto himself. I've noticed that the Boruto fandom has taken this detail to the extreme, and they are starting to claim that Kurama is coming back through Himawari. I disagree with that notion for 3 reasons. The first reason I don't think that Himawari has Kurama inside of her is that narratively it wouldn't make any sense. The idea that Himawari has Kurama inside of her, it is going to make Kurama's death feel like it was a meaningless sacrifice, when Kishimoto could have just easily written the story in a way that Naruto would have transferred Kurama into Himawari, to make her the new Jinchuuriki of the Nine Tails. That is the first reason why it shouldn't happen. The second reason is that Momoshiki stated in the Boruto manga that it's a pity that Naruto holds all that power, but has no means to pass it on to the next generation. So that means there is no way that Kurama can return inside of Himawari. If Momoshiki saw a future where Naruto couldn't pass on Kurama's power to the next generation, then it means that it is not going to happen because Himawari is part of that next generation. This statement from Momoshiki just destroyed the entire idea of Himawari becoming the Jinchuuriki of Kurama. The third reason is that the Naruto manga did say that the Bijuu will be resurrected in a few years after they die, but it didn't say anything about them being resurrected within a Jinchuuriki. This means that the entire thing with Himawari and Kurama is not going to happen unless they overlook that tiny but important detail until Beast's resurrection. These are some of the ways that the developments of the story do not support the idea of Himawari becoming the Jinchuuriki of Kurama. The only way that the Bijuu Chakra that Jura and Hidari were detecting inside of Himawari might be Kurama's chakra, as if Himawari somehow received a huge amount of chakra from Kurama at some point in the story. Naruto had the chakra of all of the tail beasts within him. It is possible that some of that chakra was transferred over to his kids, which is why both Boruto and Himawari were able to inherit Otsutsuki powers. Not to mention the Otsutsuki lineage that Himawari inherited from her mother Hinata. Hinata is the Byakugan princess as a direct descendant of Hamura Otsutsuki, one of Kaguya's sons, meaning that Hinata and Himawari have a direct connection to Kaguya Otsutsuki. My assumption is that Himawari inherited Kaguya's Byakugan power, and that is why she has a vast amount of hidden power. Kaguya Otsutsuki was said to be the Ten Tails herself. I don't think that is going to be wrong to say that Himawari having Kaguya's chakra through her Byakugan lineage is the Bijuu Chakra that Hidari and Jura are sensing inside of Himawari. There's one detail that could support the idea of Himawari having Kurama's chakra, and that idea is why the Boruto anime is an important part of the story and is integral in the development of the characters. If you haven't yet noticed what I'm about to point out, that means you haven't been paying attention. Almost every episode that Himawari was featured in, those episodes are Tail Beast related. Those episodes might have been a foreshadowing that Himawari is going to become a new Jinchuuriki, or the Jinchuuriki of the Nine Tails, even if it may have been leftover chakra from Kurama. That is possible because of the fact that the chakra of a tailed beast doesn't disappear when they die. We saw an example of this when the 4th Hokage took half of Kurama's chakra and sealed it away in the Reaper Death Seal along with himself. And that half ended up becoming a sentient being with its own consciousness later on. So these are just my thoughts on what is going on with Himawari in terms of the idea that she might be the new Jinchuuriki of the Nine Tails, or she has Kurama's chakra. But at least one thing I can say is that Himawari is having a better time than Kawaki. Kawaki's stocks are down even further in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 8. Kawaki was humiliated by Jura and Hidari when he tried to take them on. And this is definitely going to have a massive impact on what Kawaki is going to do going forward. The way that things are developing in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is almost unpredictable, and that's going to make things more interesting as the story is moving forward. I am eager to see what Kishimoto has in store for us. So let me know in the comment section what you think about Himawari possibly becoming the new Jinchuuriki for Kurama, and whether or not you think this is a good idea from a narrative perspective.